Hi everyone, this video is going to be a first impressions review and swatch video for MAC's Isabel and Ruben Toledo collection. This collection has just released on maccosmetics.com, so it should be available for you to purchase, although a couple of items are already out of stock. And if you're going in person to a Sephora store, the collection is available February 5th. As always, please go to allurabeauty.com or look in the description box below. I will put links to the reviews that I do for each individual product or sets of products. Those reviews I do after I have fully tested each color and each item, whereas this video is more of a first impressions. Please subscribe to the channel so that you not only don't miss videos like this, but so that you can also be eligible for the tons of giveaways that I host on this channel. And if you like this video or if it's helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up. Alright, let's get into swatching these colors. Alright, so let's start with the limited edition blush ombres. These are $32 each, and as you'll see with all of the things in this collection, they all have special edition packaging. So these are the three blush ombre shades that you get, and I'm pretty sure we've seen the first two shades previously, the re-promoted blush ombres, and I think that the last one is a new blush ombre shade. So here we have Ripe Peach, Azalea Blossom, and Kindergarten Red. Here's what one layer of Ripe Peach looks like when the shades are mixed together, which is sort of an orange and a hot pink. You get this light coral shade. Here it is with two layers applied. The pan does have small gold shimmer particles. They don't show up that distinctly on the skin though. And here it is with 3 layers applied. It's pretty soft pigmentation. I swiped my brush over the pan many times, but it seems to have almost like a film on top that makes it so that the powder doesn't get onto the brush very easily. It is a very lovely color once you get the color to show up, but that takes some effort. Okay, so here is Ripe Peach up close with 1, 2, and 3 layers applied. Here's one layer of Azalea Blossom. The pan contains a lavender and pink, so mixed together you get this very light, cool toned pink color. Here it is with 3 layers. The same thing, it's such sheer pigmentation, and I'm really scraping my brush across the pan. It's hard to get the powder to transfer onto the brush and show up on the skin. Alright, so there's Azalea Blossom with 1, 2, and 3 layers applied. You can barely see the first layer, and it's a lot of product, or at least a lot of swiping back and forth, even just with 1 layer. As you get to 3 layers, it becomes more of that lavenderish purple shade, and I think with 2 layers it's more of a pink. Here's 1 layer of Kindergarten Red. Here's 2 layers. In the pan you have a mauve pink and a very pale pink mixed together. MAC says this is a crimson into a pale nude. And here's the shade with 3 layers applied. Decent color, but you have to apply a good thick 2 or 3 layers on this one too. Okay, there's Kindergarten Red with 1, 2, and 3 layers on the skin. And just to show you the difficulty I'm having, I'm using my finger actually to try to get product off there, and you can kind of tell that it doesn't transfer that well. I should be getting a lot stronger pigmentation, especially when picking it up with my finger, but it seems to have kind of almost like a film that is preventing the powder from transferring onto the brush. So in any case, I like to do these heavy swatches for my viewers because I know a lot of people have different skin tones from what I do. So after a good amount of scraping with my finger, this is sort of the color that you get. So this first one was Ripe Peach. This next one is Azalea Blossom. You can see it still doesn't want to transfer. I'm going to do another layer. And here's Kindergarten Red. Also doing a second layer of that. Alright, for what it's worth, that's what those 3 look like when really heavily swatched. We have 3 new limited edition eyeshadow palettes being released with this collection. These cost $44 each. This is the Violet Wink palette, which contains purples. This is the Moody Blue palette, which contains blues. And this is the Bell Greens palette, which contains greens. So the first shade in the Violet Wink palette is Sweet Allure, which is a soft light pink with a satin finish. French Clay, which is a white gray with a frost finish. Tender Smoke, which is a muted silver lilac. Stars and Rockets, which is a purple with pink pearl. This has a Velux pearl finish. Fizzy Plum, which is a dark violet with multi-dimensional pearl. This has a frost finish. And Overnight, which is a cool black with a matte finish. This is a really deep purple, so it looks almost black. Okay, here are the shades from the Violet Wink palette. A decent palette, but not great, especially the second to last color here is pretty choppy and dry. Doesn't apply very smoothly. Stars and Rockets also has a pretty stiff formula, and it's not as opaque. If you put it over a base, it looks much more beautiful. The first three shades, especially the first two, had a much creamier, nicer, smoother formula. And then, as with most of MAC's matte formula eyeshadows, Overnight is also not great in terms of being even on the skin, but it does do a good job once you work with it and layer it and blend it in. Moving on to the Moody Blue palette, we are starting with Midnight Snow, which is a pale silver with a frost finish. Next up is Idolize, which MAC says is a silver violet with gold, but I see only silver. I don't see any gold in this. It has a frost finish. Next up is Night Divine, which is a black with silver pearl. This has a Velux pearl finish. Next up is Indiegogo, which is a blackened navy with silver shimmer. This is also a Velux finish. Next is Deep Truth, which is a dark blue with a frost finish. And finally, we have Exotic Purple. MAC says this is a dark navy, but it's definitely more purple toned than a navy color would be. This has a satin finish. Okay, here is the Moody Blue palette. Again, sort of a mixed bag in terms of the quality of the powders. I would say the best is actually Night Divine, I think. Midnight Snow was actually pretty good also. The Idolize is pretty flaky, it's mostly shimmer. And then we have these other three shades that are pretty patchy, and they need a bit of work to get a smooth layer of color. From the Bell Greens palette, we first have Fresh Blade, which is a pale frosted yellow with a Velux pearl finish. Next is Gorgeous Gold, which is a muted yellow gold with a Velux pearl finish. I'd say this is like a green gold almost, with a lighter gold flash. It's beautiful and has a really nice duochrome essence to it. Next is Vicuña, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a light neutral olive with a frost finish. Next is Savant, which is a mid-toned mustard lime with a satin finish. Next is Charcoal Brown, which is a muted taupe brown with a matte finish. And last is Sushi Green, which is a charcoal olive with multi-dimensional pearl. Okay, here are the shades from the Bell Greens palette. Of the three palettes, this definitely has the best quality eyeshadows. They are all pretty smooth on the skin. The rock star of this palette is absolutely Savant. I cannot believe how opaque and bold this shade is, especially for being such an odd shade. I really like it. And I also really like Gorgeous Gold here, which is a kind of unique. Next to Savant, it looks pretty subtle, but I think on its own it would be a pretty unique shade. Alright, next up we have some new limited edition lipsticks from the collection. There are actually a total of 6 shades, one of which I'm not going to show you. That is Sin, and that's because it's a permanent shade. You can buy it in the regular line with a $1.50 discount. And then the 5th shade that I won't be able to show you is Oxblood, because that one was not available. So I'm going to show you these other 4 shades. These cost $17.50 each. First up is the shade Barbecue. Next up is Victoriana. Next is Tenor Voice. And 4th is Opera. So first up is Barbecue, which is a vivid orange red with a matte finish. Next is Victoriana, which is a mid-toned pink red, also with a matte finish. Tenor Voice is a true classic red with a matte finish. And Opera is a dark red with a matte finish. Okay, here are your 4 lipstick shades, all with matte finishes, all with very pigmented and opaque finishes. Make sure to go to the link in the description box below or check Allura Beauty for swatches of these on the lips. Now, there are technically 3 colors in the Pearl Glide Intense eyeliners that are being released with this collection, but 2 of them are permanent shades, so I'm going to focus on the new limited edition shade that is available only through this collection, and that is the shade Chlorophyll, and this will cost $17.15. The other 2 shades are Designer Purple and Petrol Blue. Again, you can just buy that in the regular line, and you can save some money by doing so. So here's the shade Chlorophyll, and it is a lime green with pearl. This goes on super smoothly, and if you look up close you can see some shimmer in it. Probably won't be able to see it once it's applied to the lids though. And last up we have 6 lip glosses. These are all in limited edition shades, and the lip glosses will cost you $16.50. This shade is Oxblood, Barbecue, Victoriana, Tenor Voice, Opera, and Sin. Here's Oxblood, which MAC says is a light peachy nude. I don't think that's accurate at all. It's more of just a soft, dusty pink. Here's Barbecue, which is a vivid orange red. Victoriana is a mid-toned pink red. Tenor Voice is a true classic red. Opera is a dark red. And Sin is a deep blood red. Okay, here are the lip gloss shades up close. Many of you may have noticed that they correspond with the lipstick shades. All of them have very good color. And again, if you want to see these applied to the lips, make sure you check the link in the review on allurabeauty.com. So last up are some items that I'm going to show you, but I'm not going to swatch because they are actually mascaras. They're called Modern Twist Lashes. They cost $24 each, and there are actually 3 color shades in the collection. I'm only going to be able to show 2 of you in this video because for some reason MAC shipped the 3rd one all on its own in a separate package, which hasn't come yet. So if you're interested in seeing how these colored mascaras apply onto the lashes and how well they show up and how long they last, etc., I will show you all 3 of the colors in the written review on the website. But for this video just right now I can only show you 2 of them. So if you're interested, just stay tuned to the website. Okay, so here is Taro, which is a purple, and you can see that the brushes here, they look like caterpillars. They are in a waved design. And here is Chlorophyll, which is a lime shade. And the 3rd shade would have been Calligraphy, which is a navy, and you can see that in the pictures on the review once that goes up. Alright, there is MAC's Toledo collection. My first impression thoughts are that the lip glosses and the lipsticks are nice. Nothing super unique about them, but they do present you with good, bold color if that's what you're looking for. And the matte finishes for the lipsticks are very opaque. They don't dry my lips out very much, but they certainly aren't moisturizing either. For the eyeshadow palettes, I think they are okay, with the exception of the green palette, which I really, really liked. You had some outstanding shades in that palette, and the rest of the shades were very solid also. Whereas with the other palettes, you had a good number of them with formulas, or the shades had formulas with patchy application, and they weren't very smooth or creamy. I'm really disappointed, at least initially, with the blush ombres. That formula really doesn't translate well onto the skin, at least in swatches. Now, I do want to say that it's important to read the reviews if you are interested in purchasing certain items, because especially with eyeshadows and blushes, they do sometimes change a little bit on application versus just in swatching. And part of that is because of the oils on the face, and if you're applying foundation, sometimes that can help to bring an otherwise sheer blush or eyeshadow out more and make the pigmentation more bold. So I will definitely note in the review whether they are better on application than how they performed on the skin in these swatches. I also think the eyeliner is super unique in color and has such a creamy and soft formula. So I like that that is being added to this collection. The mascaras, can't say anything about them yet because I haven't tested them out, but I'll definitely let you know my thoughts in the written review. Alright, please share with me below what you think of this collection, if there are any standout things that you want to purchase, or maybe some things that surprised you about the collection from what you expected. I hope that this was helpful to you if you were sort of unsure about what you wanted to purchase, and if it was helpful to you and you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Alright, as always, thank you for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next video. Lip Velvet Lacquers. These are the matte version of the original Show Off lip lacquers, and as you can see here, they are currently available in 5 shades.